What's going on, YouTube? So today I am working on the new project, the K5 Blazer Jimmy K5 GMC thing, whatever. It's K5. Anyway, so I already pulled it in the garage a couple days ago, and I had the blue one here, which I'll post a picture of what it looked like, but I didn't bother wasting my time like making a video of it because it was junk. I already sold it. It's gone. I took what I needed out of it. I did need the steering column out of it because the one in this was really floppy. I don't know if I showed that earlier. So I went ahead and swapped all that out. Didn't bore everybody with that because it was a very time-consuming process. Plus, I switched the wheels and tires over to the Rally. So now she's got Rally wheels on it. I don't know. Me personally, I like the Rallies better. So I've just been chewing away, pulling some wiring out of this thing because it had a plow on it in its past, so it's still got this big wire here for the plow. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that all removed because I'm not gonna put plow back on it. And it had a bunch of other stuff coming through the firewall here that was running around, and it's all junk, and it had an old brake controller in it. It didn't work, so I just cut it all out, removed all the wires. So I got the seat unbolted. So yeah, the column, it's tight now. This is the Blue Blazer's column. So that's all fine and dandy. I had to pull the headlight switch out because when I turn the headlights on, the radio display goes out and the dash lights on the cluster do not come on. And everything I've been reading says that these go bad or get corroded or something internally. Whether it's this piece, I don't know. I'm just going to put a new one in it because it sounds terrible. It's all gritty and squeaky. So I had to figure out if it was a 7-pin or an 8-pin. It is a 7-pin, so I got that on order. So now I want to get the interior out of it, what's left, including the back seat. And the carpet is actually back there, which I didn't realize, so that's a plus. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all pulled and get the floors swept up. I'm going to go ahead and wire wheel the passenger side because it's got that rust on it that's starting, so I want to get that cleaned up and prepped for paint. And another thing I took out of the Blue Blazer is the climate control, because this one's in good shape. This one works, but something's broke there. It works, but it was free. Let's just switch it. This wasn't working. It didn't have the little cable doodabber thing there, so I went ahead and put that in. Already I had a cluster in my basement. So yeah, I figured I'd drag you guys along. I'm going to go ahead and switch out that climate control, and then we'll start working on gutting this interior the rest of the way. Sweep the floors, prep it for paint, and I guess get started painting on this. I'm going to kind of be bouncing around day to day, cramming a video together as I work on this thing. So it's going to be multiple days of videoing. I'm going to try to just kind of make them long videos the best I can because I'm just picking away at it throughout the winter. So yeah, let's go ahead and swap out a climate control and do some floor work. It'll probably be a pain to pull out of there. Easier said than done. There we go. Like most of these are.
Shove the gift of burritos in there.
That works. There we go. Now that's done. Now on to cleaning this floor. Alrighty, so I'm sure you saw when I was vacuuming this thing, somebody went ahead and cut a hole in the floor to get to the sending unit, which really annoys me that they did this, but it is what it is, so I'm going to have to figure out how I want to fasten this back down, or I might just order one of them kits that gives you the door in the floor and just cut this completely out. I haven't decided yet. That's kind of a bummer that they did that because the floor is so good, but it is what it is. So, one of the issues I'm having, which I think I mentioned it, was when I turn, like say the keys on, right, you got your lights, you got your radio display, but when I turn the headlights on, the display goes out and I got no backlights. But the headlights work. We got headlights. So I went ahead and ordered a headlight switch because I read online that could be the issue. I will admit I went ahead and plugged it in and it did not fix the issue. Then I'm like, I didn't check the base. I never did check the fuses, and well, what do you know? There's a blown 5-amp fuse. So, whatever. We got to go ahead and change that. Hopefully that fixes it. I'm sure it will, but I feel like an idiot. I should have checked that, but whatever. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and swap the fuse out. Then I'm going to tear this instrument panel apart, because I want to do LED backlights anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and tear it apart, buff this lens and all that, and then put some LED bulbs in it. As long as it works, we got to find out. So let's go ahead and change that fuse and see if it fixes it. Alright, fuse is switched. Let's see. Hey, look at that. It dims. And we got backlightage. Nice. Oh, great. I don't think any of those are... Oh, barely. Well, good thing we're tearing that apart. Plus, this blinker doesn't work anyway. So that bulb's bad. That one does. Cool. So it was just a stupid fuse. And I think the gauge, oil pressure gauge, is bad, which I thought I had a spare, but I do not. So I'm probably going to have to order one of those because that gauge shouldn't stay pegged like that. So, and then the next rule of business, I went ahead and cut this piece of stainless steel at work. Yeah, really nice patch panel. Because some ding-dong butchered this poor floorboard to make this thing a manual shift vehicle way back in the day. Why do people cut things? So whatever, I'm just gonna hammer it down, put some glue, like seam sealer stuff down, and glue this panel down and call it good. It's not gonna be flexing or doing anything, and it's gonna get covered with carpet anyway. And sound deadener, so I'm just gonna put this plate down after I level it out, and that'll be a nice patch. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Just gotta go ahead and give her a few Tanya Hardings. Level that out a little more. Oh, look at that. Good enough. I don't know. I've had really good luck with this stuff. I've used it in the past for like a cheap seam sealer. And honestly, it holds up really good. So I'm just going to run with this. Call it good. I'm not too concerned about the floor rotting out this high up anyways. So I'm not a professional. We're just trying to cover up the hole. We even got the squish. Nice. I think we're gonna go ahead and put a bead of that around too. Why not really lock it in? Look at that. You almost think I'm a professional. Well, except for that front part. That's tricky. That's okay. We use our fingers to get it all over ourselves. There we go. Around to the other side. Oh, yeah. Good enough for who it's for. There we go. I mean, I'm good with it. All it's got to do is plug a hole. Alright, time to rip this cluster apart. My favorite. And these ones aren't too bad. Oh, got the clock one too. Almost forgot. This thing needs a buff big time. Oh. Nice and clear now. There we go. Let's see what it does. Well, maybe it is the sending unit then. The gauge is doing something. Interesting. It could still be the gauge, but I don't know. Alright, what do we got for backlights? Just that side, huh? Wow. Not very many. That's okay. We're going to take care of that. I think they're just 194s, so. Well, I might be able to sneak in there and grab it. Oh, where'd that go? Oh, it's way in there. That's fine. We'll get her out of there. LED specials. Take them out. We'll keep those for blinker bulbs, because I do not like LEDs in the blinkers because they blow your head off. They are bright. Oh, come on. Alright, so it's been a few days back out here on the K5. I think I left off on working on the gauge cluster. I ended up tinkering here and there after work and got some stuff. So the cluster's all back together. Headlight switch is fixed. We got LEDs and everything now. Even the climate control's got LEDs. So I put all that back together for now. Went ahead and painted this floor. Got this carpet cleaned up pretty good, actually. I think I'm going to go ahead and use it. But yeah, I went ahead and painted some of this stuff, just the areas that really needed it. And obviously in the back, where the tailgate support was, I went ahead and brush painted some of this stuff, just the edges and all that. So I've patched that hole in the floor there. So yeah, that's where we're at so far. So today's goal is to remove the running boards, because I'm not running them. I don't like them. I hate running boards. I'm going to take them off, and we're going to go ahead and paint and wire wheel the frame and the rear ends and stuff like that, as well as check brakes, make sure those need replaced or not. Just kind of go over it and see what kind of parts list I need to make. I'm sure it's going to need brakes and hoses and calipers or something. I mean, they all work, but they're old. It's been sitting. I'm probably just going to replace certain things, because it is going to be a daily. So yeah, the underneath's not bad. Just going to kind of hit it with a wire wheel, clean up some of this little surface rust or whatever the best we can, blow it all off, and I'm going to brush paint the frame as much as I can, and then I got spray cans to do the rest. And then obviously when this thing gets an LS swap, it's going to get all new exhaust. It's still going to have duals and everything else, but they're going to be new stainless pipes. It's going to get new shocks. I'm probably going to do Bilsteins. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start cranking away on this. Yeah, signs that it's been painted before. But anyway, these are going to come off, and I have sure I've decided on color. Maybe some of you guys are going to hate it, but you know what? This channel is all about being on a budget. Cheap, decent looking, you know what I mean? Do the best we can with a little bit. So because it's a driver, I'm kind of voting solid red, black cap. That's what I'm thinking, because it's going to be way easier for me to paint this thing solid red than it is to try and do this two-tone, because I'm not that good with masking, and I know it's going to have a crooked line, and then I'm going to have to pay someone to put a pinstripe back on it. And I don't know. Honestly, I looked at some pictures online. They look really good solid red with a black cap. Even solid red with a red cap looks good, but I kind of like the black. So I'm kind of thinking that's what I'm going to go for. So, and I picked up another Fender. Weird, right? So this one's not bad. I've showed it before, but it's got some pitting, and then it's a little crunchy. It's actually kind of bad. Like, that's not good. Oh yeah, it's crap. So whatever. To somebody in Ohio that don't care, that's a good Fender. This Fender, other than this dent, is mint. I mean, It's a Las Vegas Fender. I know a guy that goes there and gets all kinds of parts, so I got that Fender. $150. I mean, come on. It was a no-brainer to just buy another Fender than try to piss with this one, because I'm going to have to cut all that out, and it's just not worth it. He's looking for an inner fender for me for the passenger side because it is torched. So yeah, I guess let's get cranking. I do not know the size. I guessed. It's not a 12. Oh, it's a weird size. That's an 11. Interesting. Oh, so glad to get these off. There we go. That makes more sense. What a weird size. Spinning. Next one. There we go. Oh, it looks so much better. Oh, how would they ever put those on? Alright. So, I mean, other than having the holes in there, that's so much better looking. Oh, I'll put some mud flaps on it to protect them. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and rip the other side off. I ain't going to bore you with video on that, so I guess the next step will be wire, wheel, and paint. Alrighty, so we've kind of jumped ahead here. No more running boards. That looks mint. And while I was painting the underneath of this thing, I went ahead and painted the wheels that same color I did the gray Toyota in. I actually like that. Looks pretty sweet. Now, that kind of makes me want to do from the white down this color. I don't know, undecided. But on another note, I just quick shot some paint on the shocks to make it look better. Yeah, no more rusty frame. Woo! That looks way better. Not 100% done, but I ran out of paint, so yeah, that looks leaps and bounds better. Plus, it'll help give this thing an extra chance, you know. So now, I kind of skipped ahead. I'll throw a little clip in. Went ahead and did some sound deadener. Started putting the interior back together. Check that out. Yes, this is a passenger seat, by the way. if anyone noticed it earlier. I picked up an extra set of seats because the driver one was kind of beat up here. This is the passenger seat that I picked up. It's actually in really good shape. It's just dirty. So I switched the brackets and it works fine. I really don't care. Yeah, carpet cleaned up pretty good. Why don't you put a floor mat down? Psh, that'll be fine. I'll eventually paint these later on because this is all going to have to come back out. Of course, it has this hole up here now, though, for the shifter that used to be in it. Now, today's business is that I want to lift the center console up, because I'll demonstrate why. If anybody has owned a K5, they'll understand this. When you're sitting in the seat, the center console is super low, and you can't use it as an armrest, and it really annoys me. So I kind of did some scientific experimenting here and discovered that two chunks of 2x4, 2x4, and that lifts it up enough to where you can rest your arm on it pretty comfortably while cruising, or at least in the position to cruise. So I'll show you the difference so you see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, in stock form, you can reach the door pretty good. Like, yeah, it's a little low, but it's not a big deal. You can always put your arm up here. But what am I supposed to do? Gangster lean the whole time? I'm not going to do that. So when you bring it up with the 2x4s, which I'll reach over and grab those. Oh, me and my highest quality videoing. I put a little extra on the rear just because it sits kind of at an angle. So I got a little piece of plywood cut as well for that. Now we'll place her down. Look at that. Huh? Now you can cruise. Right? See? You got your drink. Pretty nice. Does it look a little silly? Yeah. Do I care? No. I want it to be comfortable. I don't really care what people think. I figured worst case scenario, I could hang a little carpet around the edge, hide the ugly gap, or don't care because the seat's going to hide 95% of it anyway. This is mint. Like, yeah, you can cruise without having to worry about your arm falling out of your shoulder. I like it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and measure the whole gap on the center console. We're going to mount the first 2x4 to the bracket or the truck, then screw the next one down to that 2x4, and then bolt this to the 2x4s. So you'll see. Something cool that I found on Marketplace. This is not it. Just got my new inner wheel well in. It's Christmas Eve. I ended up having to get a new one. The guy that I know was going to find me one, and he's like, well, I don't really want to sell them unless it's in pairs. I'm not buying two when I only need one, so screw it. Bought a new one. It was on Jeg's website, $66 shipped. Good enough for me. It's a little thin. Hopefully we get a few years out of it, but maybe I'll track down an original one later on down the road. But no, I picked this up on Marketplace, got the guy to ship it to me. I actually put it in my black truck. Look at this mint. Leather steering wheel. Oh my goodness. I actually bought it for the K5, and other than that tiny little defect, this thing is gorgeous. I don't think I've ever had one this nice. So I put it in this truck because it's very deserving of it, and I took the one out of this that was still pretty nice, put it in the K5. Oh, I can't wait to ride my bike. Yeah, this seat came out pretty good too. I know I showed it a little while ago in the video. It's still damp, but cleaned up pretty good. That's nice. This seat's got so much fluff to it. That's why I went ahead and put the passenger seat in. But yeah, leather steering wheel. Woo! Yeah, see, this one wasn't perfect. Had a couple of nicks in it, and it looks like somebody had it rewrapped. So I don't know if this is an OEM leather steering wheel that they had rewrapped, or if they just came like this from the factory. I don't know. I mean, it's still a nice wheel. Like, it's not all wore out or anything, so this will be perfect for the old K5. Nice driver, and I got the minty one in the K10. Hell yeah. So, I dig it. Picked up a passenger fender too. I think I'm going to go ahead and replace it. So, another pretty nice one. Got a little surface rust up top, but we'll take care of that. So, yeah. Wow. It's amazing what some 2x4 will do. Look how much higher that is. So, my idea changed again. Seen a photo online of a 2014 to 19 center console on a K5, and I went, ooh, I got an idea. That's a great idea. Don't mind the fade. I ended up grabbing this out of an 07 to 13 style Silverado. I'll be honest, I raised the center console and I just wasn't happy with it. The height was good, but it was still too skinny. So I ended up going with this now. This is freaking amazing. Like, oh my goodness. It's not 100% perfect. Listen, I got it for $50. I'm not going to complain. But yeah, now we got storage in there, 3 cup holders, an extra seat, storage down there, and I'm going to hook that outlet up. Oh my goodness, this is way better than a factory center console. And the best part, sitting in it, I mean, that don't get better than that. Psh, way better idea. Genius. And all I had to do was cut the front bracket off. Let me move the seatbelt out of the way and move it back, because normally this bracket here is clear up front. That's all I did was cut that off, re-weld it, ovaled out the holes, and use the original seat brackets. Amazing. Alright, it's now 5 days after Christmas Eve, back on the K5. Sorry this video is all over the place. It is what it is. I told you this is what it would be. So today we are going to swap out the driver fender, because I did some checking. Doesn't seem like you have to take the bumper off to do it. And I can leave the hood on. I also have to prop it up because you got the spring. So we're going to go ahead and at least get the driver fender done today, and then probably do the passenger fender and inner fender well, in the next week or two. But since we had some warm weather here in Pennsylvania, I went ahead and painted the back sides of them. Obviously this is the passenger fender here, driver fender here. That's probably going to be the red we go with. Honestly, looks pretty damn close to the original. It's obviously a little brighter, it looks like, but you know what? That's pretty close. So that's why I went ahead and painted them now, so we can just put them on. Don't have to worry about the insides. I decided I'm probably just going to paint them with them on the vehicle, because I kind of just want to get these things out of my way. So I'm going to put them on, get rid of the old ones. I got to do the hood too. I got the Blue Blazer hood to put on this, which I think I showed you why, because of the Bondo popping out of it, which me and my dad chipped it off the other day to see if it was actually dented, and it is. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up. Yeah, not really. But yeah, there is a dent right here. It's creased, and that Bondo is pretty thick, so I could try to fix this, fill it in, smooth it out, but I'll be honest, I'm not that great with like body filler and making it look perfect. I got another hood, which we gotta paint it anyway. Screw it, let's just paint the damn hood. The only thing is the blue one's got a small dent right here, but I know a dent guy that can more than likely fix that dent. So I'm just gonna paint it with the dent in it, have him pop it out, call it good enough. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a fender swap. I've never torn one of these front grills off and stuff, so probably just throw you on a time lapse for a bit, throw some pieces in and out of the video, get this fender done. And voila, Fender. Too shabby. Look at that. Huh? Nice. I'd say that's pretty close. Had to persuade it a little bit here because this was sticking out and I couldn't get the screw in. Obviously the dent's not fixed yet. I got a little dent that I just put in it. That was my bad. Took a little bit of work to get this to line up, as you could see my shoe print. But we got her on there. It sticks out a tiny bit. I think the rest of it's actually the door, because the door's tucking in a little bit here. The hood's always been high. I'll adjust that when I put the new hood on. But there we go. Nice rust-free Fender now. Oh yeah. Nice. Can't see nothing. Sweet. So yeah. I guess we got the other side to do now. That's going to be a project because that's got to do. I got to do the inner fender on that one. But hell yeah. One fender down. Oh yeah, I figured we'd show the inside view. Surprisingly, this didn't have the mounting holes for that. So I had to make all 3 new holes to mount this canister. And this one lined up, but this one did not, so I had to drill it. Which the bottle here, this hole's correct on the new fender, but this hole here is like way over here. It's really weird. They put the thing there, but so whatever. We drilled it, and then yeah, that bracket thing mounts here, here, and here. None of these holes were there at all. Well, this hole was here. It just didn't have any nut-ins there, so I put a bolt on the back side and just drilled the rest. Bolted her down, so yeah, little changes over the years, but it looks pretty good. So I wanted to go ahead and paint them now. At least now when you open the hood, you're like, oh, red. Is it exact match? No, but you know what? From here, can you really tell? Yeah, probably, but looks a lot better than just leaving it blue or black or white or whatever. Alrighty, back on the K5 again, another day. So today we are doing passenger fender and inner fender. So this is gonna suck, I'm sure, but it is what it is, because this antenna here, I gotta make that hole in the new fender. It's in the back. I gotta make that hole. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that, and then get that on there. And the next step is doing the hood. So I guess let's get started getting this fender well off. And while I have the inner fender out and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and do some more painting that I couldn't do with it in. So yeah, let's get ripping. Alrighty, and the fender is done. I ended up using a reamer bit to make the hole for that. Got the antenna installed. Obviously it's gonna have to come back off at some point. I will grab a flashlight. I wanted to show everybody, so this is what you'll expect if you buy an aftermarket wheel well on jegs. So for the most part, like that bolt, that one, that one, and that one, if I'm correct, lined up. No, that one did not. So this one here did not. This one here did not. Did not. Did not. So what's that, 4 or 5 of them that didn't? The rest did, but I did have to drill the bolts or the holes for the coolant bottle and also that AC line bracket, which wasn't a big deal. I kind of expected stuff to not fit right, but for the most part, you know what, no one's gonna see that anyways. So now that we got both fenders on, see, painting those, that was the way to do it. Look how much better that looks. So now the next thing is doing this hood. The Blue Blazers hood's in here. I already washed it and pulled the liner off. Got a little rust there, but otherwise pretty good shape. So we're gonna go ahead and get this hood painted today. It's actually a very warm day here in Pennsylvania today. It's a whopping 38 degrees, so I'm gonna take advantage of that by pulling everything out of here so I can heat the garage up and shoot this thing with some paint. So we're gonna paint the bottom half, and then once it's cured, I'll put the liner from this hood on this hood, and then put this hood on this. And I wanted to show you guys, I've been kind of tinkering away off camera. Obviously I showed this. I mentioned that I was going to hook the 12-volt outlet up, and I did do that. I brought the carpet, or not the carpet, the wire up through the carpet. Got that installed, wired it right into the fuse box on accessory 12-volt. So that comes on now with the key, as well as my GMRS radio is now mounted. And don't worry, I didn't drill any holes in the dash. That's an existing hole that was already there for something else, so don't freak out. So yes, we're gonna do the hood, and then also I got the radio ain't in here. I'm gonna go ahead and change the radio. I picked up a radio on Marketplace that is the same as the one in the green Blazer. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that and try to figure out how that install kit works. They're never easy. So alrighty, so it has been probably a couple weeks now since I left off on the video. We were getting ready to do the hood swap. I had an issue with my camera, it didn't record, but I do have the hood on it now, and it's painted on the back side, so I'll show that off. Yep. Not too bad. It's looking pretty good. I like that with all the... Honestly, it's better than the other hood that was on it. It didn't even have that much paint on it. So it looks far better. Now, I've done a lot of things off camera, mainly because it's just tedious stuff that's gonna just make the video way too long. So I'm gonna show everything I did, and then the final thing I'm gonna do in this video and wrap it up is front end repair. I want to do the ball joints on the driver's side, and I'm going to do all the steering parts because some of them are loose and it's just not worth messing with them. So I ordered a whole kit. We're just going to do it all. So I think that's going to be the wrap up of this video. But yeah, let me show you what I've done. Oh, here's the big one. Look at the dash now. Oh, oh, what is that? That would be a cover lay, dash repair kit, whatever. I don't know. It's like a replacement whole cover if you've never put one on. A little bit weird. I ended up peeling the old vinyl off when I installed this, but did leave some on the edge because see how this doesn't quite go all the way in. So I left some of the old material there. But yeah, that looks awesome. And I did replace these vents with brand new ones, and the way I put them in, they're nice and tight so they won't dance around like all the square bodies do. I think I showed the radios all installed. Got some dome light upgrades too. Ended up picking these little lights up on Amazon. 4-pack for 15 bucks. And they fit perfectly in the factory screw locations. I'll post a picture of what it looks like at night. They really light up the interior, and these are kind of just quickly hung. I bolted them in. Got my new speakers in, and in the dash, there's some kickers. As well as I picked up an amp off a cousin of mine, and installed it here in the center console. This is for these speakers. It's just like a 80 watt RMS amp, which is perfect for the speakers I'm running. They're rated for around 100 watt RMS anyways. They sound really good though. Obviously I can't show you because of copyright reasons, but yeah, the big thing was doing a dash. That just made the whole interior look so much better. Obviously I'm not done. I want to probably do carpet someday eventually, but main thing is just try to make it decent, then focus on an LS swap. Oh, what else have I done? Oh yeah, I made mud flaps for this thing. I don't think that's in the other video. I bought these on Amazon. They're semi mud flaps. I couldn't find anything that I liked, so I just bought these and cut them myself and made my own mud flaps. Pretty sweet. Made a little brace bracket there for the rear out of stainless, so it gives it some support. Yeah, those look sweet. Obviously, they're going to come back off. So yeah, here's our new front end parts. We got U-joints for the front axles, got front brakes because it needs front brakes. Got a new blower motor, and all the front end parts. So we're going to go ahead and get those swapped out. And that'll be it. Step is actually the LS swap. I'm actually going to have my brother do it because he's giving me the engine and the transmission and everything, so I don't really feel right taking the stuff from him and him not making anything on it. So I'm going to go ahead and let him do the swap. Not a big deal. Sucks we won't get no footage of that, but I'll try to get some if I can. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get ripping on the front end parts. Alright, so this side I already ripped apart, went through everything, did the ball joints, did the front brakes. They're all done. Went ahead and installed my brand new caliper, but it's got new seals and the bushings and all that. Bearing's got a nice firm drag to it, not too bad. All greased up and tight. I still got to do the tie rods as well as that, whatever the proper terminology for this thing is. They're all shot, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and just do the ball joints on the passenger side too, because let's be honest, they're probably not far behind. And that bearing was loose, kind of, like it didn't have play in it, but the outer nut that you're supposed to torque down real tight was completely finger loose. So, and this side, it spins pretty easy without the brake pads on it, I remember. So I want to go ahead and tear this bearing off anyway, re-grease it and make sure it's torqued. So it's like, if I'm already that close, I might also just tear this thing all apart, do the ball joints on this side as well and the U-joint, and just get it all done. Now we know the whole front end's all brand new steering parts and everything, and we should be good for a long time. So I'll bring you along for this side. That side was my first time actually doing ball joints on one of these things. To be honest, couldn't figure out how to operate the tool like an idiot. So I went ahead and got that side done off camera so I didn't look as dumb doing it, but I'm going to tell you I was an idiot. So we're going to go ahead and try to do this side a little better and more efficient. I'll bring you along for it. So, oh yeah, let's get going. I'll kind of just prop you guys up best I can. About right there. Seems like it's going to be the best bet. Sorry, my camera angles aren't the best. I'm working with what I got here. So, I think I'm going to start with knocking that off of there. Why not? What are the chances that will come out? Slim to none. Sure. Yeah. Probably not going to happen. We'll just have to do what I did on the other side and just bust it off with the impact. They never come out. I guess after 30 some years I wouldn't want to come apart either. So, yeah, it's a little wobbly. It works. There we go. Now, where's me bigger hammer? Lifesaver. Alright. Well, yeah, those don't feel too great either. Those are pretty loose. They're like real loose there and then tight. So they're pretty warm. We'll just change them. We're already here. We love to work on solid axles. Oh, smack myself in the head. Amazing how much of this stuff actually comes right apart on this thing. You can tell it's a relatively low mileage vehicular. Oh man. The other pads on the other side were pretty bad. I'm sure these ones aren't much better. See, yeah, those were getting pretty close. That one, that's real close there. So good thing we're changing them. Sweet. Yeah, that's not too bad. That feels pretty good. No play in it or nothing. That's okay. Better to know than to not know, you know? Yeah, you know. Ooh, we didn't get this one out. Oh, no way. Oh, yeah. Nice. This one's coming out. That's awesome. Never come out. The other side didn't. Nice. To reuse that. No. Alright, so. Now that's done, we need to start tearing. Here, I'll try to turn it a little bit. Time to do the hub. This is the best part about a solid axle. Not really. It's not that hard once you know, but still, it's just like, you know, independent front suspension. It's so much easier. Just you got the one nut, a couple bolts on the back, knock the bearing out. You know what I mean? And then like this thing, if you need a rotor, you have to buy it. You know, obviously it's all one piece. It costs so much more. I'll try not to be too boring. I'll skip through some of this stuff. But for anybody that doesn't know or hasn't worked on one of these, you know, obviously don't take my advice super greatly, but I mean, maybe you could watch it as a semi-guide to get you through. So it's not super hard, it's just complex over a, you know, independent front suspension. So obviously you got your cap, there's a spring in there, and you got this piece here. It's got like little bearings in it. Come on now. I always just set that back on there because you know that's how it came off, so that's how you want it to go back on. So, next step, turn this to get to that point. There's a little seal on there as well. You got that. So that came out. Like that. Stick that in our cap. Our seal. Take that off. Now this is always fun. I'm sure they make proper tools for this, but it's budget builds. We don't have the proper tools for nothing. So we got our needle nose pliers. and a flathead screwdriver and try to pry this out of the way. You have to get that in there. Oh, you sucker. Oh, I love doing this part. It's my favorite. This will probably take the longest. I'm sure this hub hasn't been out either ever or in a very long time, so nothing really wants to come out. There we go. Here's your hub. This is an auto hub, so set that off to the side. Now, I don't know if you can see it in there, but I'll do my best. You need a snap ring plier now. These will work for ones that are straight. Snap ring in there. Spread that out. Make sparks. Oh, these ones are getting wore out, I tell you. There's your snap ring. Alright. There's a washer in there. We'll get it out. That's always fun. Oh, I love it. All the grease. Let's see if I can pick. Take it out of there. There we go. Now it's starting to come off. There we go. There's that. But this thing's curved a little bit, so make sure you leave the high side facing out. Or if this is tight. Well, it ain't finger loose like the other side. You'll need one of these, which here's the part number for mine if you want to get the same one. Well, that wasn't very tight. That should have been a lot tighter than that. There's the first nut. This is the one that kind of locks everything together. You torque that one pretty tight. And there's a little washer in here. This thing's important to get in right, which I'll explain that on the reinstall. Because it's got these little holes in it. And that next nut has like a nipple on it that's got to fit in one of these holes or else you'll break this. I learned the hard way years ago. The first time I tore one apart, didn't know that was on there and broke it. So that was nice. Tension on it hardly at all, so it's a good thing we're tearing this apart. Nothing's really tight. Now, all we see is our bearing, which it says Timken USA, so it's more likely original, just like the other side. I'll turn this so I can pull this off a little easier. There we go. There's that. Which we got a new seal for that as well. Now the fun part. You got all these bolts to take this spindle off, which I don't actually have the proper tool for, so I'm hope and pray that I get lucky like I did on the other side on getting it out of there. The other side is not stuck like this. Not good, not good. Oh, there we go. We'll make sure we clean that up. Well, I'm going to go ahead and clean this off a little bit and get some spray on it and let it soak for a bit before I start tackling this job, because I definitely am not going to be doing it the right way. So we'll come back. Definitely don't do it the way I'm about to do it. Now the axle. At least this should be the short one. There we go. The U-joint's a little stiff. Yeah. Not too bad. Get it out of our way. Now for the fun part. All joints. Oh man, that's tight. This nut looks like a aftermarket nut. Doesn't look like the other side. This looks like the one on my replacements. Makes sense why this side doesn't have play in it. But that's fine. We're changing. Yeah, I don't think that's the original nut. There's no way. Oh, that was a lot of work. There you go. Yeah. That lower's definitely been changed. The lower's tight. Oh wait, that's really tight. Oh, that doesn't move at all. That ain't good. That one's getting there. These ones weren't too bad, but this one, I don't understand. That thing doesn't move at all. That's tight. There we go. To the bench. Alrighty. Time to get this show on the road. Don't mind my big noggin. Gotta get this snap ring out of there. There we go. I think this lower ball joint might have been replaced because this seal is on the upper one. It's a nice rubber one. It looked like the ones on the driver's side, but then this one, it's like a thin, kind of a real hard plastic, rubbery. It flexes, but not like this one. See, I don't know, but it is completely seized. So it's a good thing I went ahead and decided to do these. This one's not too bad. I mean, I can move it pretty easily, but it's tight. That one there, that is just not good. I think they greased it with Loctite. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. I'll do the best I can to get some footage of this. Don't judge me on the tool. I still ain't like a pro with it. So I'm using like the medium size. It's just the basic like 8-piece ball joint set that fits over. That was the part I couldn't figure out before, was how to piece this thing together. I actually had to call my brother and figure it out because I was lost. And there's a pattern you got to do these in. You got to start with the lower, and then when you push the upper out, you have to run this threaded part through the opening and punch this one out. And then when you install them, you have to do the opposite. You got to start with this one. Or sorry, start with this one, then start with this one. It's weird. Voila. Out with your bad self. This is just a cheap Amazon one I bought for like 38 bucks. It gets the job done, so if you're looking for a ball joint press for cheap, this is the one. I could always put a link in the description if you'd like. It works. That's all I care about. Better than going to the parts store and rent one for 150 bucks. I'm getting screwed. That's crazy. That is completely locked up. That would have not been good. Wow, that's crazy. So there's our lower. Now we need our upper. Alright, same process. Cap it. Need like 3 hands for this. Hopefully this comes out. The upper does not have a snap ring, so. Nice, those came out pretty easy. Actually, that was the easiest thing on this side. The rest of it sucked in comparison to the driver's side. Alright. Go. There's that. Obviously our old one. I have the confidence that this is the original one. It don't even have a plug in it. Could be wrong, I don't know. I don't really know how to identify. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wire wheel all this stuff up, clean it, shoot some paint on it, and then go and install the new ball joints. Alright, now that that's all clean, we're going to go ahead and just press these in, then paint it so I don't mess up the paint, you know, because we're really trying to go for Barrett-Jackson. Here's our lower. So we do got to start with the lower. I don't know if I said that wrong before, but we'll start with the lower. We'll kind of push it on there. This is the end you need because the hammer thing can go in it. And correct, this fits over. Yes. So you got to put this on the back side because this can, because only a little bit of it's going to stick out. So we need this as well. Same process, only backwards. All right. I took the boot off the ball joint before I press it in so I don't tear it or anything stupid like that. That should be about as straight as we can get. Just go till it bottoms out. Go. Nice. There we go. Alright. There's that one. Now before I forget, we'll put our seal back on. There we go. And we got a grease fitting that goes in that. Grease fitting. Snap ring, which it's not going to seat to the bottom. It's not a huge deal. The good Chinese fitment. There. Snug up that grease fitting the wrong way, but don't grease it till you install it. There we go. Good enough. So there's that. Now we gotta do the same thing for the top. Which the top has this weird threaded thing, which I'll explain how you do that. So you don't want to lose that. Oh, that's tight. Top one's tough to get in. Now, don't screw up like I did on the first one. You have to put a grease fitting in this top ball joint and grease it, like put the knuckle in the truck tighten it all down, then grease this, then put the plug back in, then you can put the axle wings. You can't grease it once it's all together. It is an absolute pain. So there we go. We'll go ahead and get some paint. I think they make that top one a tighter fit because you can't put a snap ring on it. Although that one looks like it might work. Looks like we can. Might be able to now. We'll entertain it. Couldn't on the other one. There wasn't enough room. You kinda can. It's a little crooked, but you know what? It'll help. Keep it in there. Alright. There, that looks better than doing nothing with it. Sweet. Well, that knuckle is now ready to go in. Oh, missed a spot. There you go. Alrighty, so we got all our parts obviously ready to go. As you can see, we got all that put together, painted. Got the U-joint in, painted. I didn't paint all the way in because this goes into the diff, just where it was kind of rusty. So that's ready to go. That's re-greased. There's a bearing in there. That's all greased up. So we're ready to start reassembling. Then after that, it's the tie rods, which that tie rod for the driver's side's that entire thing. So that's pretty wild. Well, let's get rolling. Alrighty, so this is all painted and dry. Obviously, it's been like a day and a half, so the paint got to dry, which is great. You go ahead and put the knuckle in first, which the way you got to do these is you got to put the knuckle in, obviously, but tighten the lower one first, because you got to seat this one up in, and then I'll explain that threaded piece that goes in there in a minute. But it's weird how it works. Go ahead and snug this up to pull that bottom one tight for now. Hopefully that helps. Sure, that seems tight enough. Alright, so now that that's tight down there, we gotta take this back off. Now this is where that weird threaded thing comes into play. This is that threaded piece. So if you look at the top ball joint, it's got play in it. So this is kind of like your adjuster. You have to thread this down in until it's snug, then crank the nut tight. It's really strange. Alright, so we got that on now and greased up. Nice smooth spin, so that feels good. So now we got the axle. We'll start popping that in. I forgot the grease fitting gets in the way. There we go. Put the fitting back in. Alright, there's that. Now it's spindle time. Not forgetting anything. No. Alright. Spindle time, which you want this notch to face up. Alright. Now we'll drive that on with a couple of bolts. Now we can put this on. Like that. Put these back in. Alright, so now we're about ready for the rotor, but we're going to go ahead and smear some grease on this spindle. Just make sure everything's lubed up. So we got a new seal on there and everything, plus the bearings are going to sit on here, and I don't really need to go crazy, just I already packed a bunch in the bearings. There's that. Give a new glove on, so I'm not getting all this stuff all over my hands. Rotor time. Push the bearing back in. All right, there's that. Now we got to start the reassembly, which you start with the nut that has the nipple on it, as you can see. Start with that one. Get our tool. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but you start with the first one on 55 foot-pounds while rotating the rotor. There's that. This way. I'm kind of using my belly here. You got to turn the rotor the whole time. We'll make sure that's seated. Then you got to back it off. And then go to 35 foot-pounds for your final. Continue to spin it. Let me do this last setting. Now the tricky thing, which I don't really know how well you can see in there, but you got that nipple that sticks out on that nut. You have to get this lined up with the top as well as get that nut lined up with a hole. So basically if the nipple doesn't line up with a hole, you just got to turn the nut a hair tighter, or whichever is closer, a hair looser, a hair tighter, to get it to line up. So, which ours is close to the very bottom. Which I can't tell because it's all dirty, so let me clean it out. I had to tighten it a hair more on the other side, so it's super close. We're gonna have to just barely turn it tighter. Not a big deal. I mean, just barely. It's pretty close. There we go. It's lined up. I don't know how well you can see it on camera. I'll try to get you in there. There you go. It's to the right. Yeah, it's hard to get it. So there, that's lined up. That means that's seated properly. Now you gotta take the second one, install it as well. And then this one, from everything I've read, this one gets all the torque. You do 150 foot-pounds on this one. Kind of squeeze them together. That first one obviously sets the preload on your bearings. You don't want that too tight or you'll wear your bearings out quick. And then this one just keeps it from backing off, basically. Alright, I'm gonna have to turn this straight. Crank this up to 150. There's 150. These are the dumbest design, I swear. There we go. Make sure your bearing still spins pretty free. You don't want it to just spin and keep spinning. You want it to have a little bit of drag. Yeah, see, that's pretty good. Only goes a little bit. So there's that. That is now torqued. Now the hub stuff. Next we have that washer that's like a mushroom. Make sure the high side sticks out. And then you got your snap ring. Luckily with this you can just kind of shove it in there. And then push it with a screwdriver. Didn't really snap in place, but it's sinking into its spot. It's a pretty tight fitment. There we go. Seems good. Cool. Now time for the hub. What I do is I take this ring off and then find where it wants to go in. Nope. Nope. There we go. See how it went way further in? So that's where it wants to be. You gotta pull it out. Get your ring on there. And this is always the fun part. Oh, I got lucky that time. Nice. Now we need our little locky thingy. Put that in there. Grab our seal. Put that on. And we got that thing that goes on the end. Like so. And then the cover. And that should be it for the front end parts, minus I gotta do the tie rods. There we go. Seems good to go. Wipe some of that grease off. Voila. Another set of ball joints done. Bearings re-greased. U-joints redone. Sweet. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for this video. I know it's a long one. It's probably not the most entertaining, but it is what it is. We're trying the best we can. So I'm going to go ahead and do these tie rods and everything else off camera. I'm not going to bore everybody with all that stuff. That's just general maintenance. So I don't know. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see what I can get covered on the engine swap and stuff like that. I'm probably going to try to help my brother go up there and do that. I just don't like bugging him because it's his business. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. Nothing else. The next video is going to be stripping this thing down and painting it. So that'll be awesome. Oh, and I picked up something cool for it yesterday. I think it's cool, but I do got to modify it. I've always liked the CUCV front brush guards for the military K5s and the trucks. Now, it's not meant for this front end, so like this brace here kind of goes about right here. So I'm going to cut it and move it over and then add an extra brace here because this is just 1/4 inch steel, which I already marked where I need to move this to there. I'll cut this short and then I'll make a new piece that'll go from here all the way to there to attach to this. So I'll modify it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I guess we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully shooting some paint on this thing or doing an engine. We'll see. Stay tuned, I guess. Peace.